Such beautiful long legs. Furniture. Don't you just love it?
Oh, that was disturbing. How about we just concentrate on drawing? Okay, so in this video I wanted to draw a little bit about furniture and furniture texturing, wood texturing, because I love drawing furniture. And I usually have three categories. One is this fun, cartoony style where all the shapes are a little bit more brave and fun and out there. Then I have this in-between sort of, which is a little bit cartoony, but I'm trying to make it also more realistic. And then I have this sort of furniture where I really just want to go out and make it realistic. And I thought, okay, let me just record the process of this furniture, which I did. But I thought it's more, I don't want to speed it up. So I'm just going to go into now separately how you do the texture for the wood. And this furniture, the video for this one, you can check on my Gumroad in the description down below. Free, you pay whatever you want, which can be nothing. Don't tell anybody. So technically you do not have to pay for it. Just download it and you can see it's like 1 hour and 20 minutes of video. I didn't speed it up. So you can see the whole process there. And also the YouTube file, not the YouTube file, the Photoshop file will be there. So you can see the layers as well. Okay, let's get moving. So how do we get here? What are these sort of well-known wooden textures or wooden patterns? Well, we have this little tree of ours, right? And we cut it at those cutting lines, and then we get this nice long log thing. And as most of us know, trees have these growth lines. As it grows, the more and more lines you can count the lines, and people say that's how many years old it is. But either way, it's fun. What happens when we want to turn the tree into actual planks that we can use for furniture, wood pieces? As we cut them, those are the things, if I zoom in here, that gives us the seams, the lines that you see in most furniture, most wooden texture. So it depends on how it's cut, and then you can have different sort of, these lines, you can have them straight, you can have them undulating, right? Because as the tree grows, more and more and more common, that's why we have these nice rounded shapes there. Okay, let me turn these off and let's take a look at some textures that I prepared here. So usually it's the topmost that you have in natural wood, and there's also this one here that happens quite often, but I feel like the bottom two are more like veneer. Let me show you what I mean by that. So you have the MDF, the cheaper wood that is compressed, and then you just put a very thin layer of this actual wood that is cut nice and thinly, and you glue it there. And it looks like the whole thing is like a really thick block of wood, but that would be super expensive. So this is a much cheaper way, and probably a lot of the furniture in your house is also built like this, unless you're rich. And I'm like, hey, good for you. But I thought, okay, let me just let us take a quick look at how you do something like this. And for that, I'll take a brush and just draw a quick plank or two quick planks, just to give two different examples. And then I'm going to create a new layer here, and I'm just going to try and draw these in. So what I like to do is I usually add one of these, I like to call them eyes here, and then just make bigger and bigger lines. And then you can also make sort of like a connecting one from above, and then you come with the lines and unify them, something like this. And then the rest, they can be just lines. It's sort of like what you have here, and also a little bit here. You have these. So this is one of the things that I like to. You can also make this a little bit longer, like almost touching there. And this I find really cool. So you just take one of these weird eye things and make it a little bit darker, and then just start drawing an interesting shape around it. I like to go a little bit more. Oh, you don't want to touch them. They can come relatively close, but you don't want to touch them. And what I like also are these, you can see these really sharp edges, and I want to try and bring some of those in here as well. Let's see how I manage, and then one more. And I try to like make it a bit more, I don't want to say numb, but less sharp as we go towards the edge. And yet again, I touch there and I do not want to touch it. So let me just do something like this. And then you can bring back some of the lines to make it more liney. What I do usually, I duplicate these just because I draw them a little bit softly. This was a bit sharp, and then I just merge it down just to make the lines a bit stronger. And then I make a layer below, of course, and then we take the box selection tool, press Shift, and I just take a hard brush, open my copy colors, and I take a light color, which is this E42, seems nice, and I take a more reddish, something like this. Could be maybe a bit lighter. Let us do a bit lighter, something like that. There we go. I'm gonna lock this layer. You can deselect it now, and then you can go a bit lighter. And what I do is just take one stripe. I decide to, but I take a softer brush just because I want to be a bit more gentle. So I take one of these and I just follow it all the way, and I fill this stripe the whole way. And I color pick just because it's a little bit see-through for me. So I want to make sure that the whole thing sort of has the same color, something like that. And you can also do another one. And then what you can do also, make it quite big and then like paint in some of the areas, because you have a lot of variation in the value, something like this. And then you can also take this brown and actually take, well, I'm gonna pick one from here. I'm gonna try to go a bit more in a Bordeaux area here as well. But I feel like I could be a bit more reddish than Bordeaux. So what I do, I just lay down a bit of the color, mix it with whatever there is on the, well, in this case on the wood, and I color pick it from there. And I just keep on adjusting it to see how I like it. Something like this. It's a bit harder for me to see because it's a nice sunny day, and far be it from me to complain about a sunny day, but there is a lot of glare on my screen. So that makes it a bit harder to see what exactly I'm doing, but I think we're doing fine. One other thing that I like doing is just bringing in a couple of darker, tones, the browns that I'm using here, and emphasize these lines that we drew. Just gently, you don't have to go all in. It's a bit dark, so I'm going to bring some of these. Well, we're looking at this, right? So we want to emulate that a little bit. So we can bring some lighter tones. So I make a thinner brush, and I just make sure to brush in a couple of lines here and there with these lighter tones. And I also want a bit more of this coming down here. So you can just simulate a couple of more lines, not with the black line art, but with the actual rendering and drawing. And I think that's pretty cool. I think the dark here is a bit too dark on both sides. I just want it to blend a little bit better, so I'm going to take away from it. So feel free to always change things up a little bit. Don't try to stick with necessarily what I'm saying. I'm trying to teach you, but at the same time I can also make mistakes, and I often try to fix issues that I have. Okay, I sort of like that. And now with this one, I'm just gonna take this color and darken it up a little bit, make my brush bigger, and just give it like general areas. It's a little bit less saturated as well, I feel. I'm just gonna make some areas a bit darker, and others I'm gonna leave a bit lighter. Like I'm gonna be rough, still the same idea, trying to stick within one of these delimited areas. I guess that's a word. And then just try to clean it up here and there just a little bit. And now you can see this is more of Bordeaux. So here I take the Bordeaux and I try to desaturate it even more. Make sure that my brush is small. I zoom in and I zoom out. And you can see it's quite dark in the middle. So here I'm going to just do this Bordeaux, change the colors until I like it. And then I try to concentrate on the outlines. So we have quite some of these outlines that are much darker. And I also am going to do just some slight transitions like that here and there, because I think it looks relatively cool. So I'm going to do some here. And I don't do the whole thing once more. Just do the parts that I find to be cool as well. I'm just going to bring a bit of this Bordeaux-ness into the whole drawing as well. This obviously is the more higher quality, and this is a bit more of a rougher wood. Maybe what you could do is, since we have this color here, I would push this a bit towards the pinkish and lighten it up, and then see if we can mix a little bit of this in there, and then color pick. Just because I want a bit more variation. So this is just brighten it up a bit, just to have a couple of other tones in there. It might be a bit too much, so I'll bring some of this light back. But yeah, before we end this, I want to do one more thing. The video that you will see on Gumroad, it has a bend surface, and since I don't talk in Gumroad, I just want to jump into it here quickly and just show you how I did that. So I did speed up this part, as I said, but you can go to my Gumroad and download the video where you can see the whole thing in real time. So once I'm done with drawing out this shape, I'm going to start laying down our little wooden shapes that we were talking about and the planks that we drew before. The important thing is, when you have a bent surface like this, is that you also nicely bend your, what I called eyes, or whatever your lines are, nicely with them. So I specifically put an eye there, exactly where the bend area is, just so I can show you how nicely this whole thing will be bending there around it. So technically it's not really different from drawing the planks that I drew before, but you have to keep in mind that to apply to the whole surface, and where there's bend, you need to bend your lines along with it. And what you will also see me do within the Gumroad video is that I draw through things. So if you have a plank in the background and something blocks the view, so like half of it is blocked or the middle is blocked, still draw through these lines and then later erase it, because it just gives you more believability, and it makes it look a little bit more realistic if it seems like these textures are actually connecting, if all these lines are nicely connecting. And then once as you can see, once I'm done with the lines here, at least with the shapes, I start doing the shading, which is just a normal thing you're supposed to be doing. A little bit more shadow where there's less light, and I also add a little bit more light area, so like the top surface has a little bit of a gradient from light towards darker. Same of the surface that is the most, well, not perpendicular, but it is quite an incline, so the bottom area is darker. And what I do here is what I said before, that I lay down the colors, and I color pick it a little bit, and I start making them more and more see-through. So there's that brown area at the bottom, that is the darkest, and as you come towards the top of the wooden piece furniture here, I apply less and less pressure. So you have this, you take the dark, and as you go towards the top, you apply less and less pressure, and then you get a sort of fading of this dark. And you will see me in a minute, I'll come back with a even darker airbrush and just make that, well, almost edge area a little bit darker. And I also do the opposite on the top. I will make it quite a bit lighter as well. So I will add in a couple of well, first of all, I will go over it with an airbrush, just like I did with the dark area, but this time with a light color, well, the lighter wood color, maybe almost white, just to give it a little bit of shine, because that gives you that really nice, good quality wood. Well, not good quality, but lacquered wood, right? You have this nice little shine. And then I also take a smaller brush, and I just make sure to add a couple of strokes here and there. Well, this is all I wanted to show you in this video. I hope you found it useful. I did have a couple of people asking me how to do these wooden textures, so I do hope this helps a lot. As I said, go to my Gumroad, download the video, learn from it. If you feel like you want to support me, you can also pay for it. Whatever you want to pay, it's really up to you. But yeah, please like the video, comment. I always love reading your comments. Subscribe for more content like this. You can also follow me on Instagram for relatively often drawing upgrades. But as always, wish you guys a great week. Bye bye.